Have you ever lain awake in the dead of night, staring at the ceiling, convinced that the faint creak you just heard wasn't the house settling, but something far more sinister moving through the shadows? The kind of sound that sends a shiver down your spine, making you question every familiar corner of your own home. It's in those moments that we realize how fragile our sense of security truly is. Tonight, I'm going to share 3 terrifying accounts of home intrusions drawn from real experiences that ordinary people have lived through or barely survived. These aren't just stories, they're warnings wrapped in the chill of truth. We'll start with Sarah's ordeal in that old Victorian house, then move to Mark's suburban nightmare, and end with Elena's high-rise horror. Each one builds on the last, reminding us that danger doesn't always come knocking, it slips in unseen. Let me introduce you to Sarah, a 28-year-old nurse who thought she'd found her forever home in the quaint town of Elmwood, Ohio. Sarah had always been the independent type, the kind of woman who fixed her own leaky faucets and didn't mind dining alone at the local diner. After a painful breakup with her college sweetheart, she decided it was time for a change. She scoured real estate listings for months until she stumbled upon the Victorian gem on Maple Lane. Built in 1875, the house had towering gables, intricate gingerbread trim, and a wraparound porch that begged for lazy summer afternoons with a glass of iced tea. The price was suspiciously low, but the realtor assured her it was just due to the need for some updates. Character. The realtor called it. Sarah saw potential, a place to heal, to start anew. Moving day was a whirlwind. Friends helped carry boxes, laughing about the creaky floors and the way the stairs groaned like an old man getting out of bed. By evening, Sarah was alone, surrounded by half-unpacked cartons. She ordered pizza, ate it straight from the box, while sitting on the living room floor, and toasted her new life with a solo glass of wine. The house felt welcoming then, its walls echoing with her soft music from a portable speaker. She explored every room, the spacious kitchen with its antique stove, the study lined with built-in bookshelves. And upstairs, the master bedroom with a bay window overlooking the dense woods that bordered the property. The woods were thick, ancient oaks and maples intertwining to form a natural barrier, isolating the house from the nearest neighbors, who were a good half-mile away. It was peaceful, she thought, as she drifted off to sleep that first night. But peace didn't last. It began on her 3rd night, after a grueling shift at the hospital, where she dealt with a particularly tough case, a young patient who didn't make it. Exhausted, Sarah came home around midnight, the autumn wind whipping leaves against the windows like tiny fingers tapping for entry. She locked the front door, engaged the deadbolt, and for good measure, checked the back door in the kitchen. Satisfied, she headed upstairs, shedding her scrubs and stepping into a hot shower. The steam filled the bathroom, fogging the mirror, and for a moment, she felt the tension melt away. Then, a soft thud echoed from downstairs, muffled, like something heavy dropping onto carpet. She paused, water cascading over her, and listened. Nothing. Just the house settling. She muttered, a phrase she'd heard from her father growing up in their own old home. Drying off, she slipped into pajamas and climbed into bed, the 4-poster frame creaking under her weight. Sleep came quickly, but it was restless. Around 2 a.m, she woke to another sound, footsteps. Slow, deliberate, padding across the hardwood floor in the hallway outside her door. Her eyes snapped open, heart racing. The room was dark, save for the faint glow of a street lamp filtering through the curtains. She lay still, barely breathing, straining to hear. The footsteps stopped right outside her door. Then, a gentle rattle the doorknob, turning ever so slightly. But the door was locked. She'd made sure of it. The rattle ceased, followed by receding steps down the stairs. Sarah sat up, fumbling for her phone. She debated calling the police, but felt silly. What would she say? "I heard footsteps in my empty house." Instead, she turned on every light in the bedroom, propped pillows behind her back, and sat vigilant until dawn. The next day, she laughed it off with colleagues at work. "New house jitters," one said. "Get a cat. They'll scare away any ghosts." But that evening, as twilight fell and the woods outside turned shadowy, the unease returned. Sarah cooked dinner pasta with marinara, her comfort food, and ate at the kitchen table, scrolling through social media. A creak from the living room made her jump. She investigated, finding nothing amiss. Shaking her head, she headed to bed early, determined to rest. But around midnight, the scratching began. It started faint, like nails on chalkboard, emanating from within the walls beside her bed. She bolted upright, switching on the lamp. The scratching persisted, moving upward, toward the ceiling. "Rats," she whispered, though the house inspection had shown no signs of pests. She grabbed a flashlight from her nightstand and followed the sound, pressing her ear to the wall. It grew louder, more frantic scratch, 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 pause, then again. It migrated to the closet door, which stood ajar despite her habit of closing it. Inside the closet, clothes hung neatly, boxes stacked on the floor. But the scratching was coming from behind the back wall. Sarah's skin prickled with goosebumps. She backed away, dialing her friend Maya. "I'm freaking out," she confessed when Mia answered. They talked for an hour, Mia suggesting it was wind or branches. But as they spoke, a new sound joined the scratching, a whisper. Low, indistinct, like wind through leaves, but forming words. "Help." "Me?" Sarah dropped the phone, her scream echoing. She snatched it up, babbling to Maya, who urged her to leave. But outside, the woods were pitch black, and her car keys were downstairs. Gathering courage, she crept down, every step announcing her presence. The whispering followed, now from the vents. In the kitchen, she grabbed a knife, heart pounding. Back upstairs, she barricaded the bedroom door with a chair and called the police. "I think someone's in my house," she told the dispatcher, voice trembling. Officers arrived within 20 minutes, their flashlights cutting through the darkness. They searched every inch attic, basement, even the crawl space under the porch. "No one here, Mom," the lead officer said. "But these old houses can play tricks. Maybe get a security system." As they left, one paused in the bedroom. "What's that?" He pointed to the closet wall, fresh scratches, deep grooves in the plaster, as if fingers had dug in desperately. Sarah hadn't noticed them before. "That wasn't there yesterday," she insisted. Terrified, she spent the night at a motel. The next day, she researched the house's history at the local library. What she found chilled her to the bone. In 1942, during the war, a woman named Evelyn lived there with her husband, a jealous man who accused her of infidelity. Legend said he bricked her into a hidden room in the walls, leaving her to starve. Her body was never found, but workers renovating in the 50s discovered a skeleton behind the plaster. fingernails broken from clawing. Sarah's blood ran cold. That night, she returned with a priest for a blessing, but as he prayed, the whispering intensified. "Sarah, join me." She fled, selling the house at a loss. Years later, in a modern apartment far away, Sarah still hears the scratches in quiet moments, wondering if Evelyn's spirit latched onto her soul. Now, let's turn to Mark's story, a tale that proves even the most idyllic suburbs can hide monsters in plain sight. Mark was 42, a software engineer with a stable job, a loving wife named Lisa, and two energetic kids, Tommy, 8 years old and obsessed with dinosaurs, and Emma, 5, who loved princess dresses and tea parties. They lived in Willow Creek, a neighborhood in suburban Atlanta, where houses were spaced just right, not too close for privacy, but close enough for community barbecues and kids playing in the streets. Their home was a classic 2-story colonial white siding, black shutters, a 2-car garage, and a backyard with a wooden playset and a vegetable garden Lisa tended religiously. Max, their golden retriever, completed the picture, barking at squirrels and greeting everyone with a wagging tail. Life was routine, comforting. Mark commuted to the office 3 days a week. Lisa taught 3rd grade at the local elementary school, and weekends were filled with soccer games and family movie nights. Security wasn't a big concern. The neighborhood watch was active, and crime reports were rare, mostly petty thefts like stolen bikes. They had an alarm system, but it often went unused, the code forgotten in the hustle of daily life. "We're safe here," Mark would say, waving to neighbors like Jim, the quiet divorcee down the street, who mowed his lawn meticulously and occasionally lent tools. It was a scorching July, the air thick with humidity, when the first oddities began. One evening, after tucking the kids in Tommy begging for just one more story about T-Rex, Emma hugging her stuffed unicorn Mark, and Lisa sat on the back porch, sipping cold beers and watching the sunset paint the sky orange. Max lounged at their feet, content. As darkness fell, fireflies twinkled, and they headed inside, locking the doors and windows, though leaving a few cracked for the breeze. Upstairs, they made love quietly, the fan whirring overhead, then drifted off. Around 1 in the morning, Max growled a deep, rumbling sound that pulled Mark from sleep. The dog stood at the bedroom door, ears perked, hackles raised. "What is it?" Mark whispered, sitting up. Lisa stirred. "Probably a raccoon," she mumbled. Mark patted Max, but the growling continued. He got up, slipped on slippers, and opened the door. The hallway was dim, nightlights glowing in the kids' rooms. Downstairs, a faint rustle like drawers opening. Heart quickening, Mark descended, flipping on lights. The kitchen was empty. Living room too. He checked the back door locked. Shrugging, he gave Max a treat and returned to bed. The next night, it escalated. After a family dinner of grilled chicken and corn, the kids bathed and bedded. Mark worked on his laptop in the study. Lisa read in the living room. Suddenly, Max barked sharply, racing to the basement door. "Hush," Lisa called, but Mark investigated. The basement was unfinished, used for storage boxes of holiday decorations, old furniture tools. He flicked the light, nothing out of place. But as he turned, a shadow flickered in the corner, gone when he looked again. Imagination, he told himself. Days passed with small disturbances, a toy misplaced, a cabinet left open. Mark blamed the kids, Lisa blamed forgetfulness. Then, one sweltering night, they woke to a crash downstairs, glass shattering. Lisa gasped, clutching Mark. "Call the police," he whispered, grabbing the baseball bat from under the bed. He crept down, adrenaline surging. In the kitchen, the window above the sink was wide open, curtains billowing. A vase lay broken on the floor, but no one was there. He closed the window, swept up, and checked the house. Nothing missing. Lisa was on the phone with emergency services when footsteps thumped ascending the stairs. "Someone's coming up," she hissed. Mark positioned himself, bat ready. The bedroom door burst open, a hooded figure lunging. Mark swung, hitting the intruder's arm with a crack. The man yelped but tackled Mark. They rolled, punching and grappling. Lisa screamed, the kids waking in terror. Tommy yelled, "Dad!" Emma cried. The intruder broke free, dashing to Emma's room, scooping her up, knife to her throat. He snarled, "Back off or she dies." Time stopped. Mark pleaded, "Please, take what you want." In the chaos, Lisa smashed a lamp over his head. He collapsed. Mark pinned him as sirens approached. Police unmasked him, Jim, the neighbor. He'd been living in their crawl space, accessing through a hidden panel in the basement. For months, he'd watched through vents. Stolen mementos, Emma's drawing of the family, Lisa's favorite scarf. His divorce had broken him. He fantasized about replacing Mark. The twist. Jim had keys from helping with the fence. He'd made copies. The family moved, but trust vanished. Every new home felt tainted. Finally, Elena's account, a widow in her 70s, whose urban fortress crumbled from within. Elena was 74, sharp as a tack despite her years, living in a gleaming high-rise in Chicago's Loop. After losing her husband to cancer, she sold their sprawling home for this 15th-floor condo, modern amenities, 24-hour doorman, surveillance cameras everywhere. The building was a vertical village gym, pool, even a library. Elena filled her days with bridge games, volunteering at the local shelter, and caring for Whiskers, her tabby cat, who curled in her lap during evenings by the window, watching the city lights. Small things shifted first. A book on the coffee table instead of the shelf. A drawer ajar in the kitchen. Getting forgetful. Elena chided herself, adjusting her hearing aid. One blustery winter night, snow swirling outside, she brewed tea Earl Grey, her favorite, and settled in her armchair with a novel. Whiskers purred, then suddenly arched, hissing at the bedroom door. A click sounded like a lock engaging. Elena rose, cane in hand, heart fluttering. "Hello? No answer?" She entered the bedroom, bed pristine, closet closed. But the air held a foreign scent, cheap perfume. Bathroom next. Mirror fogged slightly, as if recently used. Behind the shower curtain, a shape. Elena yanked it. A woman screamed, cowering. "Don't call the cops, I was just hiding." The woman, disheveled, claimed homelessness, sneaking in for warmth. Security removed her, but police revealed more. She'd infested the building, hiding in maintenance shafts, stealing identities. In Elena's unit, a false ceiling panel hid her lair, blankets, food, Elena's family photos. The shock: she was Carla, Elena's long-lost niece, presumed dead. Anonymous letters Elena ignored were Carla's cries, warped into stalking. Elena fortified her home, but solitude turned paranoia, every creak a relative's return.